That's where it's all about today. The Hum Audio look-ahead analog mastering limiter with dynamic transition. Yo, what's up? Welcome to this review of the Hum Audio look-ahead analog limiter. This is a very special unit, as the current price is at around 10,000 USD, but that is for a reason. This limiter has been in my rack for months now, and I've been using it on literally hundreds of dance masters. So I really know the unit well, and I know how I like to use it. But first of all, let's start with the start. Once you get in your Hum Audio LAAL limiter, you immediately see that this thing is built at a next level quality. The power cable is fully shielded and has a lock, so it locks into the unit. The weight is almost 10 kilos, which is super heavy. And this unit really feels like a robust and extremely high quality level unit. Then directly going into the question of why I bought the LAAL limiter. And that's very easy. For dance music, loudness is very important. You don't only want to sound good, but it needs to perform as well. If you push out a master, that master needs to perform next to today's top hits that are all super loud. If you listen to the club hits, they are all very, very loud. And if you have a mix that sounds good, but just feels way less loud than those competitive tracks, then your clients just won't be happy because everybody wants to sound loud. However, you not want to crush your sound to a limit where it's sounding flat, lifeless, or even super distorted. And that's exactly where the LAAL limiter comes in. The reason that this is called look-ahead analog limiter is because there's a 0.2 ms look-ahead delay time built into this unit. This is the only analog limiter ever made with a delay line built in. This 0.2 ms analog delay gives the limiter the opportunity to already know what signal is coming up and react before the signal gets limited. This means that you don't have peaks that are cutting through before the limiter is able to kick in, and this way it's really able to limit in such a clean way. It allows for the absolute best quality limiting you can have. This limiter is literally that good that you can easily bring your tracks to louder levels than basically every hit out there. It's so good that you can literally push a track so hard that it sounds extremely loud. However, that's not how I use it. In many cases, I even have the limiter section in bypass, and let me explain to you why. I use the LAAL for a couple different reasons. First of all, it's the transformers. I will show you the unit and I will talk you through it, but the transformers are amazing. These transformers sound so good that you always want to have them on, basically on every mix. They add a really good quality to all signals that are being pushed through the LAAL limiter. And then there's the dynamic transients. This function is basically shaping the transients, as limiting sometimes reduces the transient feel and makes it sound less punchy. This function, even if you disable the limiter section and you just push in the transformers and the dynamic transients, you hear a certain expansiveness and punch coming and crisp coming through the entire signal. It's really amazing, and already for that reason I absolutely love this unit. Then add up to that the limiting section is so powerful, and it's a no-brainer if your budget allows for it. Then if that isn't enough, there's also a stereo widener. This is basically a button that allows you to bring up the side volume. It's really good sounding, and I love setting it at 1 at least, or at 2. For me, that's the sweet spot. But then we're coming to one of the biggest reasons for me to love the LAAL. I'm using it all the way at the end of my chain. I lower a bit the input, then set up the limiting section or bypass it. And after that, on the output side, when it's at +4, I'm about at 0 on my Prism AD converter. That means that if I go +6, I'm clipping maximum about 2 dB on my AD. My AD, which is Prism Lyra, the Prism conversion is really amazing quality. So what I love to do is use a little bit of the limiting from the LAAL, dynamic transient and transformer, stereo width, all the way at the end of my chain before clipping the AD converter, and that way coming back into the DAW at around -3 RMS or lower or higher depending on the goal for that song. I did do many commercial masters where I didn't do any processing after the AD conversion, so you are definitely able to get a release ready master without any plugins after simply recording your AD. However, I currently prefer doing some processing after, which is just super important if you, for example, want to have a true peak limited master. Alright, enough talking, let's go over the unit together and then go straight into the sound demo. Here you've got the left side and here you've got the right side. They are mirrored, so here we have the input of the right side and here we have the input of the left side. This takes some time to get used to because it's very logical to think that if this is the input, then this as well is the input. However, there's a super good reason that Ham Audio decided to do it this way, and that is because they want to keep the internals identical on the right and left side so that the sound is identical as well. So there ain't differences in the right and left side of the circuit inside, but they're all identical. That's why this is the input and this is the input, this is the output and this is the output. So here we've got hard bypass, this bypasses the entire unit. Then we got limiter bypass, which bypasses the limiter section, but doesn't bypass the dynamic transient and the transformer and the stereo width. Then here we've got stereo link, so that if there's gain reduction on the right side of, let's say, 2 dBs, that the limiter, if it's linked, it's doing the same thing on the left side either way around. If it's unlinked, you will see differences between gain reduction on the right and left side. Then the power knob, usually in units such as here on the West Audio one or here on the Better Maker one, it's super clear that this is a power button. However, on the LAAL it's not. That said, I've never experienced suddenly switching it off by accident. I never had that, but yeah, I can understand, especially if you have like big hands or something, that it's easy to accidentally switch off. Then peak hold, yes, just for the metering of your gain reduction. If it's off, then the gain reduction will directly disappear after it's happened. With hold on, it will hold a little LED saying what's been the last gain reduction amount. Then release 2 ms, 5 ms, 10 ms, 20 ms, 50 ms, 100 ms. Then on the input and output, we have 2 different ways to go about it. Here is a more general knob, so every step is 2 dBs, which is a lot. And then you can set it up roughly and dial in a more specific amount with the trim that is stepped in 0.2 dBs. I really like this way of working. It takes some time to get used to it. Once you're used to the LAAL look-ahead analog limiter, you won't ever want to go back. This is an absolute beast. That's the LAAL look-ahead limiter. Now let's listen to how it sounds. So that's the LAAL Look Ahead Analog Limiter. Such a beast. This thing, yeah, once it hits your studio, you never want to let it go. It's such a amazing limiter. It easily crushes plugins like Pro L. Definitely check out the Audio Animals video, which is superb. Paul did an amazing job in ABing Pro L with the LAAL limiter, and yeah, it just shows how good this unit sounds. It's truly next level. And if you want to get a LAAL limiter yourself, I would definitely advise to go for it. And from my own experience, when hearing the quality, especially here in the studio with the PMCs, like literally the first second listening to the unit, I already was sold. And yeah, I tested many units, and sometimes a unit just comes in, sounds okay, has some cool features, but doesn't instantly wow you know. And the LAAL limiter definitely did. It's such an important element here in the studio, and if I would need to sell 80% of all my gear, I would 100% keep the LAAL. I do understand that audio equipment can be super pricey, such as the LAAL, so definitely make sure to leave me any questions below if you want to ask some things before getting a unit yourself, as I'm experienced with the unit and would love to share everything about it. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching the Ham Audio LAAL Look Ahead Analog Limiter with Dynamic Transient review here. If you got any EDM dance music that needs to be mastered, then definitely reach out through thismixissig.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.